Pushya or Pushyami is ruled by Brihaspati. You can see here. So Brihaspati is the god of prosperity, the god of peace, the god of happiness. So if you're happy or not will be determined by your uh, your placement of Jupiter. Okay, the more happier you are, the better is your Jupiter. A lot of people attribute Jupiter to prosperity or wealth, but you can think that Jupiter is going to provide you happiness in life, but less wealth. It's not about wealth. It's about the happiness. So somebody's Jupiter is good. It means that he's happy and contented. That means he's satisfied. In Hindi, if you take it, or in Sanskrit or in Telugu, it is a tripti. The happier you are, the contented you are, that is shown by Brihaspati. So this nakshatra is called as Pushya, Pushyami. In olden days, this was called as Tishya, Tishya. Okay. So the mantra is Brahaspates Tishyaha Juhvataha Parastat Yajamana Avastat. Okay. Bruhaspates Tishyaha Juhvataha Parastat Yajamana Avastat. This is the mantra. Okay. These mantras are taken from Taittiriya Brahmana of the Yajurveda. These are easily downloadable. I mean, don't be afraid with the kind of name it's carrying. These are easily downloadable in the native language of yours. It can be Telugu or Hindi or any other language that you would look at. Most of the Indian languages, I think this is available. It's an easily downloadable thing. So we are only taking the meanings of the shlokas or the mantras from there. All right. So as the name says, Pushya. Okay, Pushya would also mean a deity. The nakshatra deity of Revati is Pushya. Okay, or Pushan. We call him the Pushan. Revati is ruled by Pushan, and the planet Venus is getting exalted in Pushya or the Pushan or the Revati. Because if you look at the final charana of Revati, Venus is being exalted there. So you can see both the benefits, the Jupiter and the Venus. These are these are the highest form of benefits in the whole nine planets that we have, and both have connections to Pushya or Pushan for getting exalted. It means that somebody who is prosperous, it denotes prosperity, it denotes wealth. So this nakshatra has huge amount of wealth. Okay. So Jupiter is going to give you wealth, Jupiter is going to give you peace, and Jupiter is going to give you happiness. Or it can as well afflict one of these when Pushya is afflicted. Okay. All right. So the nakshatra deity is Brihaspati or the Deva Guru, the chief priest of gods. Okay. So if you see, Cancer is a peace-causing sign. Okay, the sign of Cancer is for peace, and the sign of Sagittarius is for war. If there is a war, you would see the Sagittarius is afflicted. I mean, let's suppose you have a war-like situation even in the world, you would see some afflictions to Sagittarius because that's the war-causing thing. If you see the symbol of Sagittarius, you have a Dhanas. Okay, Dhanas is the bow through which arrows are coming up. And there is a person who is trying to shoot arrows out of a bow. Okay, and it's a half man, a half animal. You would see a lot of warlike thing happening in the Sagittarius. And exactly 8 houses from the Sagittarius, you would find Cancer, which denotes peace. That means once the war ends, there is peace. Okay. So from Sagittarius, there is the eighth house, end of war, that denotes peace. Okay. Similar way, from the peace, if the peace is getting the peace goes into war, that is the sixth house for the fighting, there is a war. Okay. So one from the other is six to eight. The Mula Trikona of the Jupiter is Sagittarius. Jupiter gets exalted in the Cancer, which is the eighth house from its own Mula Trikona. So the person who is trying to teach how to execute a war is also Bruhaspati, and how to make peace is also Bruhaspati. The job of Bruhaspati is to educate people in the Dhanur Vidya, or let's suppose if you look at the Mahabharata or any epic for that matter, even in the Ramayana, the Dhanur Vidya or the archery that was taught either to Rama or to the Pandavas were by the rishis. Okay, the rishis were teaching like the Vishwamitra, the Vasishtha, and even in the Ramayana, the Dronacharya. All these people were rishis. They were teaching Dhanurvidya to the Pandavas or the kings, whoever for that matter. And the same way, they were also trying to establish peace within the kingdoms. Because if both the kings, I mean, let us suppose there are two kingdoms and both the kings are are powerful equally, then they would not fight each other. They would try to establish peace treaties between them, and they'll try to rule it. So unless the king of one side knows that the other side is weaker, he would not attack it. So like APJ Abdul Kalam would always say, when you have enough strength, that's when the enemy would not attack. These are not the exact words, but this is how loosely we can translate what APJ Abdul Kalam meant. So there is war and peace thing in Pushyami. So Jupiter likes to establish peace. That's why Jupiter gets exalted in the Pushyami Nakshatra and would not be very comfortable sitting in the Dhanas. So do not think Jupiter sitting in the Dhanas is extremely good. Okay. For that matter, I would say any position of any planet in a particular sign can give you both good and also bad. Everything will depend on the position of the planet for sure. That's right. However, any position is not going to give you only benefits or only pitfalls. You would have both of them coming out simultaneously due to the same position of a planet. Okay. Now let's look at the symbols of this nakshatra. The symbols are cow's udder, and you have male goat, you have lotus flower, arrow and a circle, Indian gooseberry, that's the amla. We call it amla in Hindi. So a lot of people eat amla. And we have ashwatha tree. All these are the symbols. So a cow's udder would give you milk, right? Milk is used for nourishment. So the more the milk that is available in a country, the better are the children. I mean, you can feed children with enough milk, and milk provides a lot of nourishment for all the children available. So this nakshatra is going to help people to get nourished, have enough food. The first thing is having enough food or having enough peace, because the more the milk that you drink, that's cow milk. The usual saying, I mean, it cannot be scientifically proved right now. However, the usual saying as for the Indian culture is there is more peace, because cow's milk is meant to establish peace in people. Okay, and a male goat and a lotus flower. Lotus flower, if you see, all of you must have seen the Lakshmi Devi's image. You see Lakshmi Devi's image, she would be sitting on a lotus flower. Same is the case with Brihaspati. He's sitting on a lotus flower, which would represent prosperity, which would represent money, which would represent nourishment, which would represent happiness. All these would come from this nakshatra. Okay, and let's also look at the kind of nakshatra this is. This is a fast nakshatra. Okay, what does a fast nakshatra or a kshipra or a laghu nakshatra would mean is, this is a nakshatra which is going to give you results faster. That's one. And this can also, get, let's suppose there are so many things which are giving a bad result, assuming. So something, if there are 10 things which are trying to show up a bad result, this may not influence it so much. However, if there are 10 things which is influencing a good result, this is going to add up to it and further multiply this. Okay. This is like a Kshipra or a Laghu or not much of an influence of a nakshatra. Only thing, if everything is right, this is going to support you further and it is going to annex more and more wealth to the native. Okay, facing or looking towards Urdhva Mukha or facing upwards. Any nakshatra, as I must have told you in the previous nakshatras as well, anything that is facing upwards is going to pray God for anything that happens wrong. So any person here is going to only blame it on God for creating such a situation for him. Okay, that's one way of looking at it. Or he keeps the Devata Aradhana, we call it, or somebody who's trying to do pujas just to escape any bad karma or anything that is coming out in the negative. Uh, that's what this nakshatra would mean. The nickname of this star, I mean, I would suggest everybody to, besides remembering the whole mantra of this, besides that, also remember the nicknames of the stars, so that you have a fair understanding of how the nakshatra is working. Okay, the nickname is the star of nourishment. So anything gets into this gets nourished. You supply something, it gets nourished, it gets multiplied and comes out. The second house significations go in, they get multiplied. So you get the dhana significations multiplied. That means the prosperity is going to get multiplied. Okay, even the second house would mean a family. So a family which is going to be a large family, a renowned family, and so on. So whatever comes out from the second house, you can mean everything in it. So you can say, like, let's suppose you have a second house Pushyami, usually the Gemini Lagna, the second house Pushmi, the family or the Dada, Pardada, we call them, like the forefathers or the fathers, are well known in the either in the region or in the community or in the state or in the district or in the country, depending on how well the Pushmi is placed. Okay, that's one way of looking at it. And the foundation above is plants or animals to be healed. If you remember, we talked about plants and animals in Mrigashira and Ardra. So Mrigashira is ruling the plants and Ardra is ruling the animals. So usually when animals or plants when do they get a problem? When there is not enough nourishment available. That means when there is not enough creation being done or multiplication is not being done. Let's suppose there are plants and there are animals, and not enough multiplication of animals and plants is being done. So then what happens? Then there is not enough food for the people or for the whole species or for the whole animal kingdom. So the cycle of the food chain is going to be disturbed just in case you don't have a proper Pushyami. So the Pushyami is going to show something like not what can we say? Either it is dealing with a problem of food, somebody is trying to deal with the problem of a food, or it is trying to deal with the problem of a mental agony. Pushyami is trying to supply food for mental agony, or they are going to be healers wherein somebody is not doing well, and if the Pushyami person gets in touch with him or her, he's going to heal them by giving them confidence and the kind of empathy that we call it, the empathy that people would need to be healed. The empathy is given by Pushyami. So having planets here would mean that these people can supply a lot of empathy to the opposite people and heal them. That's the basic idea of Pushyami. I mean, if you look at the mother thing, right? What does the mother do? What does the mother do when you come back home, either from a school? If you're a kid, you come back from a school, your mother is there. Usually in the Indian context, I'm trying to say, I'm not very sure what happens in the US or other places, but for sure in the Indian context, if we look at when the child comes back home from the school, usually about 5 to 8 years or 10 years of age, you come back home, the moment the kid runs up to the mom, he hugs her, right? So the mother is going to provide him the empathy by touch, right? She's going to touch him and provide some empathy for whatever work he has done in the school, or and provide him some food after he comes back home. So that's what is Pushyami all about. So Pushyami is like a mother who's trying to feed uh, her child, right? It's just an extension of what Aditi was doing to her kids, right? The last nakshatra is Punarvasu. Punarvasu tried to help her kids. The same thing Pushyami is also trying to do, but Pushyami is more resourceful. Pushyami has more money to feed her kids. Um Aditi as well is good. However, Aditi may have lost some prosperity in between. However, Pushyami has huge prosperity. Okay, provided it has good planets, unafflicted, it has a very good prosperity. Okay. Um, so how do you look at afflictions and so on? The simplest way of looking at is having 6, 8, 12 lords is affliction. Saturn, Mars, Rahu, Ketu is affliction. So the less it is afflicted, both by the natural planets and by the 6, 8, 12 lords, the less it is afflicted. And it has like Jupiter, who is like a seventh lord or fourth lord, or things like that, then that's very good. However, that's not the only signification, because sometimes even the seventh lord, 10th lord, I mean, I'm talking about the Gemini Lagna, where the seventh lord and the 10th lord would be Jupiter. One may still face some issues, just in case the Cancer is overpopulated. Like Cancer does not want too many planets, because when you have too many people around, there is not enough peace. Cancer is a peacemaking sign, so the number of planets should be lower. Otherwise, there is always some trauma, turbulence, or something that's happening around, and people are a little less than what it should be. I'm not saying any planet in Cancer is bad. That's not the understanding. But the lesser number of the planets that the Cancer would have, the more free the Cancer is, or the more happier the person is, or we call it the Shuddhi. So if you have the fourth house to be very clean of planets, the lesser the planets are in the fourth house, the person has lesser unnecessary troubles. If the more the planets are in the fourth house, it means that there are unnecessary responsibilities which are not his responsibilities. He's trying to fulfill the responsibility of somebody else, or he's trying to destroy his own peace by thinking of things which are actually not there, or he's trying to only visualize things overly over the native. I mean, he does not have any issues, but he keeps thinking that he has issues. Even this can be a problem with Cancer, or it will make the person very worrisome, although he has everything. Even that can be a case. Okay. So the final desire is to hear well, not to be deaf. So this is like the opposite sign has Capricorn. So Capricorn has Shravana. Shravana Nakshatra is in Capricorn. So Shravana would mean hearing. So this also exactly opposite to Shravana, this nakshatra is also going to help in hearing something, because if you have to establish peace, somebody has to hear it. And if people are not hearing to one another, that's when the fight is, because not anybody is listening, everybody is only trying to fight. And the fight stops only when somebody else tries to hear the other person. So that's what this nakshatra is all about. Okay. So planets like Mars, Rahu can bring prosperity. However, they may bring diseases which are related to ears, hearing, etc. Sometimes, just in case they happen to be the lords of the eighth house, the sixth house, the 11th house, even the 11th house, or the 12th house. Okay. These can be the issues. Puranic stories. One is the Brihaspati, the Tara, the moon. That's one very good story that we would look at. And the other is Sita Devi, because after in the Punarvasu, what we have seen is Sita got united with Rama, and they are living a happy life. That's when the Uttara Ramayana started, and Sita became pregnant, and again, you know, something started for her, or something is not going right for her. Okay, that also can be seen in Pushya. So the Brihaspati, the Tara, and the moon, we call this Tara Shashanka in the normal terminology. So Tara Shashanka. That means Shashanka would mean moon. Tara is the wife of Brihaspati. So Brihaspati was the chief priest for Indra. When Indra was around, Brihaspati was the chief priest for him. And in those days, when the creation just started, when the Indra was ruling everything visibly, and when the yuga of the Kali Yuga did not start, or just the Krita Yuga was about to start, or when the first creatures were coming out, when the Indra was ruling, then what happened was the kind of yajnas or the rituals that Indra used to do used to last hundreds of years. So Brihaspati, being the chief priest and the chief advisor, would stay with Indra for hundreds of years performing a yajna, and he would not go home. So Tara was alone at home, and once Moon visited Tara, okay, and just to say hello to her and how she is doing, and because Brihaspati is not around. Tara actually fell in love with Moon. Okay, the wife of Brihaspati fell in love with Moon because Moon is a very charming personality, and Moon has a lot of empathy. Okay, because Manas, right? Manas is something. Moon is Manas. So the Manas is always towards empathy. If somebody is in a problem, we would always think, "Oh my God, okay, let that problem vanish from him." We would at least we would whisper in our own voice to the guard, okay. So you have empathy from the Manas. So Tara fell in love with Moon. I mean, this is all a metaphor. So do not think Jupiter wife really existed and Moon fell in love with her and tried to elope. And this is all a metaphor. Just for our understanding, these stories were created so that we can relate everything in this world to these stories. So we are trying to relate Jyotisha now to the story. The story is when Tara fell in love with the moon. Moon gave her some empathy, and they ultimately eloped from the house of Brihaspati, and Tara and Moon started living together. Jupiter, the Brihaspati, came back after a long time. He did not even realize that Tara went missing. So the Devatas started asking Brihaspati, where is your wife? Why are you not concerned about her missing? So that's when a big war happened, and Moon had to ultimately return back the wife of Jupiter. Okay. So the whole understanding with this thing is, and Moon was, I mean, Tara was pregnant by then, and Mercury was born. And ultimately, Mercury had to be adopted by Jupiter, and he had to raise him as a kid of himself. Somebody would say Mercury is brought up by somebody else, not by Jupiter. There are different versions available of it. I would not deny or I would not agree that one version is right or one version is wrong. Both versions are right. Depending on the situations, Jupiter and Mercury are considering themselves as father and child because Jupiter is the guru of everyone at that point in time. Anybody wanted to learn something, they had only one option to go to Jupiter or to Venus. So usually people would pick Jupiter, being the Devaguru, and then Rakshasas would pick Venus. So at that point in time, only Jupiter existed. So Mercury had to learn something, and he was only coached by Jupiter. Okay. So do not get worried with the variations that the Puranic stories may show that somebody who's very well versed with Puranic stories, you may see that at some places Mercury was brought up by somebody else and stuff like that. Mercury did not like Jupiter at all; they never met and so on. But the only logic that you would have to apply is if anybody has to learn something without the grace of Jupiter, they cannot learn. So Jupiter was always was treated as a student of Jupiter. Jupiter always treated Mercury as his student. That always has to be considered. So the whole episode, if you look at, the problem existed only with the marriage. Okay, so this nakshatra is good for everything, but not very good with seventh house significations. That's the wife, marriage, and stuff like that. So there are possibilities that the person may not be married at all, may have issues with marriage, or the divorce of the marriage, or the person or the wife or the spouse is going to leave the native and then come back once again and reunite. These are some of the these are some of the significations or kind of results that you might expect just in case you have seventh house connections with this. The stronger the seventh house is, that means that somebody has a moon in Swakshetra in the own house of of uh, of Cancer in the Pushyami Nakshatra, and the Lagna is Capricorn. It means that the cusp of the seventh house and the seventh lord Dispositor, all three would fall into Pushyami, which is not a very good signification. So the idea behind saying this example is a lot of people might think that you have a planet in the own house. It would mean an excellent position. Well, no, it's not like that. Not always. The planets in own signs or exaltation are only going to give you good. They may give something which is very bad as well. So as I said, the position of Capricorn as Lagna and moon in the seventh house in the Pushyami is excellent for business. It is excellent for professional success. However, it's very bad for marriage and success in marriage. Okay. However, always you have to look at the Navamsha positions. It may also so happen that the wife and husband are not together. They are living in two different countries. Let's suppose somebody is living in Australia, the other one is living in the US. So there's a huge time difference between these two, and they hardly meet one another. Maybe once in a year they meet each other. Even there can be cases like that. It's not that it's not possible. It's possible as well. So that's one way of looking at it. However, you can look at the confirmations only from the Navamsha. So without having understood what Navamsha is saying, just not look at merely the position of moon in the Pushini as a seventh lord being in the own sign and declare, well, no, the marriage is bad. No, yeah, it may give you a hint saying, yes, there is some problem. There can be a problem with the marriage. Always confirm it through the Navamsha. Okay, without checking Navamsha, do not ever say or talk about uh, the marriage as a conclusion, or not even, because we cannot. You have a client in front of you. Do not utter a word about marriage till the time you see the Navamsha as a confirmation. Okay, Sita, and as I said, like Sita got separated. Yes, somebody has a question.
By Navamsha, we Navamsha of moon, we have to check.
The whole Navamsha chart. I will teach you how you have to look at Navamsha chart. So the as a heads up, what you can look at is look at the Lagna, look at the seventh house. They should be clean without the conjunctions or aspects from the sixth and the eighth lords. Okay, the first lord getting into conjunction with the sixth lord, the first lord getting into the eighth house, the eighth lord and the first lord are together, the seventh lord, eighth lord together, seventh lord, sixth lord, eighth lord together. All these things would mean that the marriage is not very good. Besides that, you also have something like this. It means that there is, yes, definitely there is something wrong. And also look at the dashas. At what time is this happening? So from three locations, we're going to see it. One is from One is from the nakshatra positions of the D1, and then the respective divisional chart that would have like in this case it's the Navamsha because we're talking about the marriage. In case it's about the children, we look at the Saptamsha. In case if it's about the employment or the professional thing, we would look at the D10 or the Dashamsha and things like that. So unless we have a clear understanding of what it is doing in the divisional chart, sometimes they can be misleading because, as I said, there might have been an issue with the wife, and she came back in just 1 or 2 days. She went up to her mom's place, fighting with the spouse, and she comes back. Even that can happen because that happened in the case of Jupiter. Is the question answered?
Yes, sir.
So it's a little complex story of Sita because Sita was always following dharma. So even in the case because Jupiter stands for dharma and Jupiter stands for moksha and Jupiter stands for living alone because Jupiter rules the 12th house. Okay, if somebody has to get emancipation, okay, or the moksha we call it in, in Sanskrit moksha or mukti, okay, or the abode of God once we die, that's the 12th house, or the meditation that we do. These all things are done alone because anybody gets moksha alone. You're born alone, you're gonna die alone. That's what Jupiter rules in the 12th house. And if you have to meditate, even if you're sitting in a classroom where meditation is being taught, you have to control your mind. The teacher is not going to come up to you and say he might tell you a few techniques of the breath, but he cannot teach you how meditation is done. You have to learn it for yourself. That's what Jupiter rules as the 12th house, and also Jupiter rules the ninth house. Okay, the guru thing. So living alone can also be understood from Jupiter. Okay, so the Sita, the daughter of Bhumata, was very prosperous because she is the daughter of an emperor, and she's the daughter-in-law of an emperor, and she's also married off to an emperor. And Rama is the biggest emperor on the world. So following dharma is important even in Pushyami. Okay, so somebody is not having enough money despite having good planets and good house lords in Pushyami would mean the moon is badly placed because the moon ultimately would have to be very good, very well placed for Pushyami to be working. That's obviously you have to understand that because Pushyami, the dispositor for any planet inside Pushyami will be moon, and moon would certainly control it. So not merely just having planets in Pushyami would help you a lot, but however, the moon placement is going to help. Uh, and So even Sita
Sir,
felt, yeah, yeah, Nagu.
so if a planet is in retro, any difference will it make, sir? Any kind of results making reversed or something?
A planet in retro would have two,
Retro.
three things. Yeah, the planet one in retro would have two, three things like, how do I say it? Okay. So just take an example. So it's a lot easier. Have you seen kids at home when they are like, they're like 5 to 10 years old? What would they have? They have notebooks and pencils and erasers. And when they grow up, like they are into the first sixth class or seventh class, or the sixth grade or the seventh grade, whatever, whichever country you are in. So in the sixth grade or seventh grade, they would get pens, and there are no erasers. So the mm, the children who are like kids, they would get pencils and erasers just because they are bound to make mistakes, right? So a retrograde planet is like that. A retrograde planet is bound to make a mistake, go back and correct it, right? So let's suppose this. I mean, I'm giving you a very overview of it. So this may not be universally applicable. However, you can get a hint from here, like the seventh lord in retrogression would mean, uh, just in case if it's badly placed, also afflicted and so on. So retrogression of a house lord would mean that the person is in a hurry to do something, it goes wrong, comes back to correct it, and then corrects it. Like somebody who's got married in a hurry, then quickly realizes he made a mistake, leaves her or him, and then marries again. Okay. Got into a
Okay.
job, he found that the job is not right, left the job, found another job, joined there. Okay. So these are one of the significations. However, this may not come to pass at all, or you may not see it at all. Even that can be a possibility. It largely depends on where the lagna is and what houses is it ruling. But I would largely say if the planet is a natural, naturally malefic, like Saturn being the seventh lord in retrogression in the sixth house or in the seventh house, would not mean a very good placement unless the Navamsha thing is very good. Unless the Navamsha is very good, it's difficult to sustain that marriage. Okay. I'm not sure what context you've asked the question. So just in case if it's not answered, let's take the question up with little more specificity soon after we finish the class.
Sure, sir. I think I understood. Yeah.
All right. So what we would look at is from the Sita's life, that is not having a very good married life. Okay, so it also shows the same thing. Although she was the princess, uh, and then she got into marriage with Rama, and she became the queen. She never actually had a very prosperous life, is what we should think. So from the women perspective, okay, native is a woman. She may also have some issues uh, with the husband. I mean, husband leaving her for different reasons, etc. However, always look for Navamsha combinations, just in case you have to look at any signification that's coming out for the seventh from the Pushyami. Always confirm it from Navamsha, but it's not a very good news if you have seventh connections in Pushyami. However, for the seventh connections that deal with the business side, who's not concerned about the marriage, it's very good. Okay. I mean to say, if somebody is into a muhurta thing, somebody wants a very good prosperity, people will pick up business, profession, etc. to choose a Pushyami is excellent. But Pushyami, nobody gets married in Pushyami. Okay, it's not suitable for getting married. Let's look at the mantra. Brahaspati Stishyaha Juhvataha Parastat Yajamana Avastat. This is I mean, I would say you can do japa as well with the mantra. This works efficiently well. Brahaspati Stishyaha Juhvataha Parastat Yajamana Avastas. Just in case somebody has afflictions around Pushyami. Okay. Brahaspati Stishyaha. So Brahaspati, the Jupiter, or the planet who rules everything in this world, who can turn around anything, that is Jupiter, by giving advice. Okay. So these people are not very rigid. Planets inside Pushyami, that's what the Shipra or the Laghu would actually mean. So fast and small. Because Brihaspati is a teacher. He is not going to put a sword on you or a gun over your head and say, do this. No. Brihaspati never does that. All the best that he can do is he can organize a meeting with you, talk to you for a couple of hours, saying, look, this is what you have been doing, and this is where this went wrong, and this is where you have to improve. So we call this upadesha. Okay, that's what the Jupiter does. So Jupiter tries to give, uh, healing, or tries to correct things or tries to coach you like a life coach, but cannot influence you to make a decision and will not support a decision or will not direct the person to take only that decision which he meant. What Jupiter does is, look, this is what you have been doing, this is what shall be done, and it's up to you. You make a decision and go ahead because the king makes the decision, not the mantri. Because Jupiter is a mantri or a priest. He's not going to make a decision. The king is going to make a decision, and the mantri is only going to help him what is right, what is wrong, and what might be needed. And you make a decision, my dear king. You are the king. That's how Brahaspati or the Jupiter is going to deal with things. So planets here would need advice, or the person is an advisor himself to a lot of people. Okay, something is not right with Pushyami, then it means that you have to take counseling from people. Okay, who are good counselors. Go to them, approach them, and the counselor is going to coach you and get you rid of the problem. All right, Juhvataha would mean in the olden context, or Tishyami. Tishya is what Pushyami is. Tishya would mean the nakshatra of happiness and prosperity. So Tishya is nothing but Pushya these days. And Jukvata would mean conducting yajnas, conducting sacrifices. So Jukvata would actually, what it would mean is uh, following the dharma and doing what is right, because Jupiter is a planet who teaches this is what is right. So sticking to what is right is only going to help you. If you're falling off from the truth and if you're trying to go off the truth and doing wrong things, then you are only trying to pave a way to get ill luck onto yourself. Otherwise, it's up to the person to decide, because Pushyami is going to give you the result at a very later stage, or when the real crux comes out is you don't have any money. This can happen to a lot of people. You don't have any money, suddenly some money comes in. This is what Brahaspati can do. He'll get help from somewhere so that you are following the dharma, right? If you're off the track and not on dharma, he can destroy all the money that you have, and one day the person can go begging. Even that can be done by Brihaspati. That's very rare cases. This nakshatra is going to give extreme riches and pushes the person to be righteous and being on the dharma side. Okay. And these people are very good eaters. We call it bhojana priya in Sanskrit or Telugu. So somebody who eats well is Pushyami, who tries, because nourishment, right? Somebody likes food. Okay. So the second lord being there, or the second lord dispositor being there, is uh, we call it very good food lover, right? He would try to help a lot of people. He would be a food lover and stuff like that. So Yajamana is like, in either in Tamil or in Telugu, Yajaman would mean somebody who is the owner, right? Owner is called as Yajaman. So this person is going to become the owner of a lot of property, a lot of money, being prosperous. That's what Yajaman would mean as well in Sanskrit. Okay. So these are the meanings of the nakshatra. And the traits here are, the person is for sure prosperous. If not at the start of life, for sure at the end of life, for sure the person is prosperous. Uh, how much prosperous would depend on what kind of planets you have. So somebody can go up to an emperor. Somebody might make money for his family. Somebody might come out from a family which is very poor, and he established himself, and he made money out of a lot of things. So it depends on the planets. Okay. And also the Desha Kala Patra that we always talk about. So sometimes the person has to make some sacrifices in the middle age. Okay. And the best thing is this person is actually behind knowledge, because Jupiter, more than money, is the provider of knowledge. If you have knowledge, you can get rid of any problem. right? Because a lot of people struggle in life because they don't have proper education, right? And once a person is well educated and well knowledgeful and skillful, all three would belong to Jupiter. Jupiter is skillful, knowledgeable, and and has everything within him on the knowledge side. So he goes to an interview, for sure he'll be selected. If he has not got enough skill set, then how is he going to be successful? So Jupiter helps you have the knowledge of everything which can make money. So indirectly, Jupiter is the creator for money, but directly he's the creator of knowledge. The more knowledge you have, the better is your Jupiter. Whether you're trying to use your Jupiter for making money or not, that's a different case. So if you're trying to use properly your Jupiter, you're going to make money. Okay, that's what it would mean. So if there are planets in Sagittarius and if there are more planets in Sagittarius, so it means that the person is in a war. So Cancer is not going to work very well. Okay, this you may pick up a few cases within yourself why your Cancer is not working very well, just in case somebody's Cancer is not working very well or somebody is not having enough peace. Just look at Sagittarius. If your Sagittarius is overcrowded or there are Graha Yuddhas in Sagittarius, so what would a Graha Yuddha mean is two planets or more are in the same degree. Okay. So if they are on, let us suppose, on 18th degree is there, you have two planets on the 18th degree. Or the difference of degrees between two planets is less than 1 degree or 60 seconds. I mean, 60 minutes, sorry. Okay, so less than that, both the planets are in the same degree and they are in a planetary war. There are more planets in the Sagittarius. It means that the person is trying to actually fight with the situations that he has and he's trying to come up in life. That's why he's not making peace. Peace will come only when you're not trying to do anything. Okay, so do not think Cancer is a good sign and Sagittarius is a bad sign. No, if you're working, if you're trying to make money, if you're trying to make money, how will you have peace? Because you're trying to make money, you're trying to rigorously work. The more you're working, the harder is your Sagittarius, or the stronger is your Sagittarius. It means that you don't have peace. Okay, that's how you have to look at. So mm, the only thing I would talk about Punarvas on the negative side is the marriage. Otherwise, prosperity is excellent. Okay, so cows are done. So the cow is regarded as a sacred animal for us in India in the Vedic culture. So cow's milk is going to give you nourishment, indicates prosperity. Okay, and on the male goat side, which is also another symbol, it would mean that the person is a little slower eater. He eats little slowly. I mean, he tries to enjoy the food that is being supplied to him. So uh, he likes tasty food, sits for quite a while, and then let's suppose everybody else is done with their meal very fast. This person would still be at the table. He would be eating and tries to enjoy the kind of food that's being supplied to him. He enjoys everything on the food side and can be little specific as well because Jupiter is a specificity. He tries to say, I would don't serve me this food. I do not like it. I would like this kind of food. Supply me as much that you would want in these varieties. He may still have enough varieties of food, or maybe not liking one or two kinds of food. Okay, and constant eaters, they eat a lot. They can eat and digest very well. Okay, and they may not be putting up tummy as well. Okay, because juhvata would mean burning up everything. Okay, because juhvata would mean burning up everything, and he can digest a lot of. So if there are some digestion issues, it can also mean that the Pushyami is afflicted. You can look at that. Okay, because uh, fourth house would mean chest and also the starting part of the intestine. So you can look at that. And usually the male goats would have beards. So somebody like growing up a French beard, etc., would mean there is some influence with the Pushyami. Okay. And then the special degrees are the Yoga Tara for this is 16th degree. And so what would Yoga Tara or any of these degrees would mean is these are special positions. Once we learn all the nakshatras, we will talk about these specific degrees. Do not think the Mrutyu Bhaga would mean bringing in death for anyone. No, it's not that. Mrutyu Bhaga or the exaltation or the Yogatara are all special positions. They have to be used separately. So do not think, and the Mrutyu Bhaga would mean, let's suppose seventh lord is in the Mrutyu Bhaga, would not mean the wife is going to be killed or so. No, it's not. It does not mean that. Okay, the results are not going to come like that. All right. So what we are doing at the end of every session is we are looking at the connections to the houses as well. So the first lord, the first connection is the first lord, the first cusp, and the first dispositor. So the order is, if you have to look at the whole life theme, you always look at the first lord dispositor, and then the first lord, and then the first cusp, and finally the first lord. When you mix up all these three, the more dominating thing would be the dispositor of a house. So somebody has to establish a life theme, look at the Lagna Lord dispositor, how he is, and then you make some sense from there. And then look at the Lagna's cusp. This is more next thing, which is more influencing the Lagna, the person. And then finally a little bit of the Lord. So how would we rate as about 60% goes to dispositor, like the next 30% would go to the cusp, and then the Lord would take up another 10%. Okay. So if the first Lord dispositor or the cusp or the Lord of the first would fall in the Pushyami Nakshatra, this is the result. I've look, I try to keep it as descriptive as possible, but it may not be the full list. So always look at because let's suppose somebody has a dispositor of the first lord in the in the Pushyami, born in a well-to-do family, yes, for sure. Will definitely be very prosperous by old age, yes. However, spouse may leave or cheat. This may happen or may not happen. Okay, when you're going into the specificities, as I always said, for this spouse thing, you should always look at the seventh house, just not merely looking at the first house. The wife is cheating and things like that may not still happen. Okay, so there's a 50-50 chance for these things. However, you get a fair, good idea of how the life is going to evolve, or the theme is going to revolve around. So if you have a hint that yes, it is the spouse is going to leave or so, you would quickly check with the seventh house and its positions. Okay, from there you would find how the spouse is. Okay, second house. I have not mentioned about the family here, but usually the kula, we call it, or the kutumba, is a renowned family. Okay, somebody might have a surname which is very prominent um, in the district, or could be prominent in the city, or could be prominent in the mohalla, or the place wherever they are living in. Very very prominent there with the second house thing, and a lot of people know them by the surname that they are carrying. Okay, it's more often in the north and the south India of the Telugu people. But other than that, the Tamil people, they don't have the surnames. So I don't know how they identify the family there. But just in case they are known by some family name, or these are these people, like I have the Somayajula thing. So if the Pushyami of someone is connected to to the second, it would mean the family is very well known in the area. Okay. Also, as the cow udder is connected, any afflictions here would mean lactose intolerance and stuff like that. So usually, what you would feel here is like the Saturn or the Rahu coming into picture, because that's what the moon would not like much. Rahu is not liked by the moon. Saturn is not liked by the moon. So sometimes you may see lactose intolerance uh, for the second house connections with the sixth, eighth, 12th. Lord connections, and also Saturn Rahu influencing, or sometimes even Mars. Okay. So excellent communication skills when you have the third house connections to. So somebody may give a very good advice. Okay. So the third house, because Jupiter is advice, Guru Upadesha, that comes from the third house. The person will rise in ranks very quickly because the third house would say ranks or cadre. Okay. And the siblings are prosperous. The native is also prosperous, stuff like that. Fourth house, you may have a lot of properties. Okay. The mother may have raised the children without much help from the father. Okay. This can also happen because the fourth house is the mother, and mother's Pushyami would mean the father is invisible also. Okay. These are only possibilities, okay? I'm not trying to say that this is going to happen for sure. For surety, then you have to check the divisional charts. Without checking the divisional charts, you cannot pronounce a result. Okay. These nakshatras are only going to help you. Am I going in that direction? Okay. So this may show a little bit of direction. If this shows up, you check the divisional chart, and if that confirms, it means that yes, this is certain. Okay, or certain to a large extent, even then, because you do not know what time the exact birth is. If the time is off by about 10-15 minutes, then picking up a divisional chart as well may give you a wronger sense of it. So be careful before you pronounce big results. Like, your spouse is going to cheat, his spouse is going to leave. Before saying that, try to make smaller predictions. Okay, are you prosperous? Have you been doing a very good business? Are you prosperous in that? Based on that, you can actually understand how well the Pushyami is placed, or any other cusp that you would encounter. Try to make predictions from the cusp of the lagna. Okay, from there as well, you get a lot of sense. Okay, is this happening or not? Then that's when you'll go step by step into the larger or the bigger predictions. Do not start with something very big at the start because you're not very sure if the time is right or not. Okay, so what's unwelcome here is the sixth, eighth, 12th lords. As I said, sixth might increase diseases, sixth might increase unnecessary hurdles, sixth might increase enemies. Okay, because those people are going to prosper and they are troubling the native. However, sixth may also mean a very good practice by a sports person. If the native is a sports person, despite the fact that he's got some injury or something, he's still practicing. Okay, so even that can happen. So not every time you're gonna get only bad from something. So your routine life is going to prosper. You're making some. Let's suppose somebody has to go to a ground for practice being a sportsman. He can go on time and try to do whatever is right for him on the practice side. But seventh house is the only thing which I would think little shaky. Seventh house is not very good in Pushimi. Seventh house cusp, seventh house lord, seventh house dispositor. The more the stronger is, more the bigger is the result. It would always show up in the Navamsha as a confirmation. Without Navamsha, please do not predict this. It may so happen that just for a week's thing, the spouse went into misunderstanding and she came back. Even that can happen. Just in case everything else is pointing towards it. Okay. Eighth house, inheritance will increase. So as I said, inheritance may increase, occult studies may increase, like the thing that we are doing here is one kind of Jyotisha, is an occult thing. Even that can happen. And I can also bring in mm, diseases like cancer, right? They're trying to grow, right? Somebody has a cancer, so the cancer is prosperous. It means that the cancer is growing, like Rohini, Pushyami, uh, can bring in diseases like cancer or something which is growing or prospering. So do not jump in again saying the sixth lord or the eighth lord is here. So am I going to get cancer? No, that's not the right way of looking at it. Always look at the D30 and the D12 and the D9, and then look at diseases. Just by merely having eighth lord or the sixth lord in Pushyami would not mean you're going to get cancer. For that matter, any wrong thing. Okay, it may also show the inheritance is increasing. Okay, you're getting a lot of inheritance from different places. Or death is bringing inheritance. Like let's suppose somebody do not have hairs, hairs or whatever you call it, varas or varis. So that happens to be a maternal uncle or a maternal aunt or a paternal uncle or a paternal aunt. They do not have the next heirs or the children. So this person may get it. Okay, even that can happen. That's how inheritance counts. So do not have just one thing looked at and jump into conclusions. Please don't do that. These are only things which are hints. From the nakshatra, you would get a big hint. From that, you go into the divisional chart and then confirm. Okay, because what is that? A lagna or an ascendant would last for 2.5 hours. So anybody born in that period are bound to get the same nakshatra and the cusp. The only thing is the cusp is going to change every 5-10 minutes. So that's one thing which can show the right thing. So that's why I always emphasize on the lagna cusp. Look at the lagna cusp. For anything to happen, the lagna cusp has to support. Without the lagna cusp support, uh, neither the positive will come nor the negative will come. So the lagna's cusp is very important. However, the divisional charts are always important besides that. So the 10th house connections are tremendously good. They are going to work very well. They're going to work for the prosperity of the native. And because it happens to be the fourth house from the seventh house, the spouse's mother can also be prosperous. She could be a lady who's got huge wealth, renowned in the family or the extended family. Okay. 11th house is also very good for Pushyami. The earnings are going to increase. Okay. And 12th house, not very good because you may have enemies from the 6th house. Wherever 12th house are hidden enemies. They're not visible to you. Do not know who your enemies are. They might be just beside you and trying to reach you. So these people come from the 12th house. These are hidden enemies, and they can also make up for the debts because 12th house can make losses or debts due to losses and things like that. It can also mean regular hospital visits due to some disease or something because hospital falls in the 12th house. And it can also mean somebody who's in, what's that? He's in a jail, and you know, and the jail term is constantly extending. Even that can be shown up from Pushyami because something that is growing or nourishing. This 12th house would also mean a jail. However, for pronouncing any of these results, you need the divisional charts to show up along with the dasha. Okay. We haven't come to that point wherein we'll talk about the dasha or something. First, we have to cover up all the nakshatras, and then we'll cover up all the rashis, and then we'll look at planets, and then we'll talk about dashas. However, we will do a small exercises here and there just to understand or show up. This is how each of the nakshatra or the planet or things are working. So be a little patient. Do not think we are not doing enough examples and so on. For sure, we will do examples. My only concern is till the time you are confident enough of doing examples, uh, you have to be a little more patient to listen the concept first because these concepts work really magic. Okay. Any feedback or anything that you would want to share from the lecture? Anything is working in your cases or the horoscopes that you're looking at? Be happy to listen. And that's all about Pushimi.
Hi, sir. You have given some percentage or the to Cusp, Lord, and the Dispositor. What about the planets residing in it?
Mm. That's a what I'm saying is you would always look at uh, Yes, for sure. The planets also we have to consider whatever is staying inside it. So we add it up to the cusp. Actually, some planet is there. We add it to the cusp. So let's suppose there is a second house thing you're trying to understand. And the second house cusp is something, and there is a planet which is another nakshatra. So we add up that nakshatra as well to the cusp of the second house.
Oh, okay.
Or in other words, we are trying to add up the signification of that as well to the result.
Yes.
And if that happens to be a dispositor of something else, then it is going to be even more powerful because it's dispositing some planets. All right. All right. So,
Sir,
good. Yes.
sir, in Saptamsha in your website, you didn't mention Pushyami Nakshatram for childlessness, sir. Even though the children, if fifth house dispositor is in Pushyami Nakshatra, there are chances of adopting a child. Even it comes under childlessness also.
Well, yes. However, Jupiter already has a lot of sons, okay, from Tara. Jupiter was not childless, okay. So Jupiter was having children from Tara, and Jupiter went out, and that's when Tara fell in love. Okay, so I'm not very sure. I would still rate Pushyami to be a nakshatra mm, having a neutral impact on the children thing. So, as I said, this is a Kshipra nakshatra that we talked about. So, because ultimately Moon did not have children. The Jupiter always had children. Even the Mercury came back to Jupiter, and for all the children of Jupiter, it was single class, and all the children were sitting. Jupiter was teaching. So I agree to you a little bit. However, everything else has to show up to the place wherein it's the childlessness thing. Otherwise, I would still rate um,
Pushyami as a neutral planet.
yeah, Pushyami is okay or neutral thing. Because Jupiter was not childless. Jupiter has enough children, and Jupiter is a Jiva Karaka. Okay. So wherever he is, Jupiter is going to give children. Or wherever he is going to get you in contact with Jivas. So any yoga of Jupiter is going to come through people because Jupiter exalts in the fourth house of the natural zodiac. Fourth house of the natural zodiac is the masses. So Jupiter, any yoga of Jupiter or any result of Jupiter is going to come through people that you are coming into contact with. So fifth house connections to Jupiter would mean so many children, many children. Usual result is having many children. But unless everything else is showing up to, and for the as I said, for children, it's the yoga thing because it's not the nakshatra which is going to work. More always look at the yoga thing. Yoga would mean planets. Add up planets. That's when the saptamsha is going to work for the children. So without saptamsha, won't work. I would rather say every nakshatra is neutral except for Mrigashira and Uttarashadha for children.
Okay.
More careful you have to be with respect to seventh connections for Pushyami. If seventh connections are not there for Pushyami, it means that it's a very good thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So, one of my friend has his seventh lord
in Pushyami, and he's Capricorn ascendant. And as you said, like he is of my age, so obviously he's not married. But whenever he got into a relationship, he was totally depressed and was admitted to a mental hospital. Like twice it has happened, even during last year. So basically, this nakshatra is not good for relationships. Does that is implied from this?
Yeah. Because you said that the seventh lord is moon, right? The moon is in Swakshetra, right?
Yes, sir.
So now if the cusp as well of the seventh house is in Pushim, you have to see that. Do you know how to check the cusps? Okay, we have got some time, so let me just show you. Let me just show you that. Can you just see the chart? Okay. Let me just put the
Sir, his
north.
cusp is in Pushya too.
Yeah, right. So for others, let me just show what cusp would mean. So this is the Lagna's cusp, 21 degrees for Purva Shada. Okay. So just count as many number of nakshatra padas. So if you see Purva Shadha, third would mean in the Sagittarius. Okay, I need to give you the North Indian chart. So the Purva Shadha, third, is the cusp here. So that would mean uh, the the Mula of the four padas of Mula has gone by. Purva Shada, three padas. The two padas have gone, and the third pada is running.
Running,
So that
right,
would
sir?
mean the seventh. That would mean the seventh thing is working. Seventh pada in that particular house is working. So if you look at the seventh house, which is the Gemini, you would have to count seven padas for the nakshatras that are there in Gemini. So Gemini is starting Mrigashira, third pada, Mrigashira, fourth pada. Those are two padas, followed by Ardra, four padas. That would elapse six padas. So the cusp of the seventh house is in Punarvasu, first pada. That's how you calculate. Okay. So similarly, as she was saying now, so she has a friend who is Capricorn Lagna, and in the seventh house, there is Pushyami in the seventh house as the cusp. And also moon is in the own house. Okay, this is what I tried to explain it a little while ago. The stronger the planet is in Pushyami as the seventh lord, the delicate it is the Pushyami. Okay. So seventh lord in the Pushimi is not good. So he is into the mental hospital as well. Okay.
No,
So
sir,
does
he
he think?
was admitted, but like now he started doing some his studies back again. Now he's fine, but he
Whenever
got
he
cheated
gets
on.
into whenever he gets into a relationship, he will be cheated.
Yes, sir, that has happened every time.
Hmm. That's a
And
very
sir,
common.
if someone's ascendant is in Ashlesha and moon is in own house, moon is in Pushya again. So moon is in first house. So same results because moon is expecting the seventh house or not.
No. There is a huge difference here. Okay. First thing is if the person has an Aslesha, we have not covered Aslesha as yet. Yeah, so it will come up. One, the Aslesha, just to give you a debrief, it's a Sarpa Nakshatra. So Asleshas are meant to be slaves. Okay, wherever they are, they would work like a slave.
Okay.
Aslesha, having Aslesha in the cusp and having the Lagna Lord in the Pushya would mean the spouse can be cheating and she is ignoring it. If it's a woman, okay,
Mm, okay. No, sir,
he may
he's a
be
male.
okay, it's a male, okay, or he is ignorant of the fact that the spouse is cheating. However, the seventh house is more important. Okay, that's one thing. Otherwise, it's just the Lagna Lord is in Pushya. It means that he is a very prosperous person, but he is a very conjuice. You understand conjuice, right? In Hindi, that
Yes,
the
yes, sir.
yeah, so he's a little mm, not
Miser.
interested in yeah, miser kind of a person. So that can be possible. Do you
No,
do you do
sir.
you- okay? He's still young.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He is young. He is 24, but he's not a miser. He is very spendthrift kind of guy.
So maybe he got a lot of inheritance.
No, sir. But his Venus is in second house, maybe. That's why. I don't
You have to
know.
look at the whole thing, but usually if Aslesha falls as the cusp, he will turn into a little miser thing only after after marriage or so. But we have to look at the whole thing.
Okay,
So
sir.
it's too early to talk about marriage or anything because it's 24 years old, right?
Yes, sir. So his seventh lord is in Bharni, so I don't know.
Not
His
enough. You also have to look at the seventh lord dispositor, most important.
right. That is in Sagittarius, so I don't know. I don't remember that much.
Okay, so if it's in Sagittarius, then we have to look at it in Mula or in Purvashada or in Uttarashada. So if it's in Uttarashada, it means that there is a fight between the native and the spouse. If it's in Purvashada, there is a fight, but the woman has agreed to live with him under certain conditions. These are the conditions I'm laying down for you. You have to follow these conditions. That's when I will be together with you. Otherwise, I'll leave and go. If it's Mula, if this person is trying to cheat, I mean the native is trying to cheat, she's going to walk away. If the native is following righteousness and if he is following the dharma, then she's going to stay back with him. There's nothing wrong with the whole thing, even if it's in Bharani. The only
Okay.
problem that the person may have is somebody who is not accepting the marriage will die, and that's when they may marry for Mula and Bharani.
Okay, sir.
It's still
Okay, sir.
complex. You may still have to look at the D9 positions and so on. And you have to be very sure whether this is Aslesha or not as a Lagna.
No, sir, that
See,
I remember for sure. His ascendant
uh,
and
so it can so happen that if it's Aslesha first Charana, just by moving the time backwards by 5 minutes can make it into Pushyami fourth Charana.
Hmm,
So
right.
you have to be doubly sure whether this falls in Aslesha. If it's Aslesha, he is very obedient, okay, and he's trying to follow a lot of things being taught by his father, or he's trying to take a revenge. A lot of characteristics are there for Aslesha. I'll teach you maybe in the next Punarvasu
Next
Pushyami
class.
Aslesha. Yeah, next class is Aslesha. Yeah, we'll
Right.
teach that.
Yes, sir.
Any more examples you have for Pushya?
I have examples, sir.
Okay.
Uh, I have one of my friends who
Okay.
had a fourth lord dispositor in Pushyami, that is Jupiter in Pushyami Nakshatra.
Madam,
His
start
father
with
got
the Lagna, please. What Lagna is it?
uh, Swati Nakshatra, sir. Libra
Oh,
ascendant.
Libra ascendant. Okay.
Libra ascendant. Shall I tell you the date of birth?
Go ahead, and just in case if it's a larger thing, we'll have the date of birth. Okay, tell me what is the date of
Actually, three planets are there in Pushyami Nakshatra, sir, for this guy. Okay,
birth?
August 15th, 1990.
August 15th, 1990,
1990. Time is 11:16 a.m.
11:16 a.m.
Varangal.
Warangal. Okay.
His father got expired when he was doing his medicine, sir.
Okay.
Now he's a practitioner and he earns in lakhs per day.
Right.
His income will be around 2 to 3 lakhs per day.
Hmm. So why is that? Because you have Jupiter and Pushya, and if Jupiter is on the fifth degree, he's almost at the deep exaltation point. All right, and
Okay.
he's the third and the sixth lord, right? So he's very skillful.
Yes, sir, he's very skillful. He's a surgeon here and he's very skillful.
Yeah. Sixth house would mean a surgeon.
His father
So
got expired.
yeah,
Sir,
sixth house would mean surgeon.
surgeon.
Okay. Yeah, sixth
Very
house
skillful.
exaltation. Very skillful.
He's a divorcee actually.
Hmm. So okay. That did not came for Pushyami. Okay, it came for
Yes, sir.
Kritika. Yeah,
Kritika.
yeah, it came for Kritika and Bharani in the cusp.
Yes, sir.
So the only thing for him is he's married once again.
No, sir, he's not married. I think he may not get married again. As
Yeah,
Swati Lagna,
right. That's very right. He may not get married once again.
yes, sir. But he earns around 2 to 3 lakhs per day. He will do plenty and plenty of surgeries. He's very skillful and
Hardly
he's
he is
very soft. Sir,
34,
he's
34 years of age. Yeah,
34
must be
years
very
of age.
soft looking. Hmm.
He's my friend only, sir. He's very skillful and he's very good at communication. He's very good guy. Even he's a topper in school. He was district second ranker.
Okay.
Even a topper in the class. It's university first.
Okay.
He will not get married, I think.
Hmm.
Like all the planets, the Lagna, first Venus, third lord, and
So
sixth
just
lord.
look at the beauty of this thing. Why he is earning so much is because the tenth has Pushyami in the cusp. Okay, the tenth house has got Pushyami cusp. That's one thing. There are three planets in the Pushyami, and the dispositor of the tenth lord or the tenth lord himself is in Rohini, and there is an
Rohini.
exchange. There is an exchange between Moon and Venus. Okay, Venus rules Taurus. So Rohini would also mean a lot of prosperity, and
Yes, sir.
Pushyami would also mean a lot of prosperity. And
Yes, sir.
eighth can also mean doing surgeries. So sixth and eighth connections would mean doing a lot of surgeries. So this person has the sixth lord connected to the tenth house, and the dispositor is in the eighth house. So this is like the excellent surgeon.
Yes,
But you have seen, I mean, a lot of Pushyami is very a lot of planets are there in Pushyami. So that's also one more thing which has pushed him into a divorce. I think did he not give enough time for the spouse? That's the complaint.
yes, sir. That's the complaint.
Yeah.
Even
Because
spouse is also well off. She came from very big family, sir.
yeah. So that's the Kritika.
She left him only because he didn't give time to her.
Yeah.
But
The complaint with Jupiter for Tara in the Tara Shashanka, which we just understood just now, the story of Jupiter. Jupiter was very busy with his work with Indra. Indra
yes,
is paying him in millions and he's trying to make money. And Jupiter is trying to substantiate to Tara, saying that, look, why am I earning? I'm earning only for you people so that you can live happily. Then why are you leaving me? That's the question Jupiter asked Tara after she came back. Okay. So
yes,
this is the complaint. When you have an overactive Pushimi, this person is very much into his work and he cannot come out. I mean, he's so his presence is so important there. He cannot deny it. That's his problem because the chief priest has to be there to do that particular yajna because yajna has to be followed, has to be done using a lot of SOP, standard operating procedure we call it in the factories or in the operation theaters. You would have your own language. I don't know what you would call it. So the chief surgeon or the surgeon has to be there for the duty. You cannot leave it on a junior doctor and come out, right? So
yes,
his presence must be important. In fact, this person
yes,
himself is a junior doctor, so he has to be there for sure.
yes, yes, sir. At that time, he was a junior doctor. Now he opened his own hospital and he's running that hospital. And within 1 year, he's earning a lot.
Yeah.
He became very famous and he's earning a lot within a year of opening of the hospital.
Hmm.
So can any remedies will work for this person to get married again? His
Person
mother
is
is
not
worrying about.
he's not ready to marry, right?
He's not ready to marry. He's
Yeah.
not ready.
He's not ready to marry because
Mm.
you look at you look at the seventh disposition. Even it shows he's not very ready to marry. Okay, because overactive Pushya And he thought he's rejected. I mean, he's not going to come back. He's not going to marry anyone because all women are like this. Is he complaining that?
Yes, sir. He's complaining the same thing.
Because it's Kritika, right? So the anger is lit up, and he's not ready to marry. I've not still seen the Navamsha, but at the outset, if
In
you look at,
Navamsha also,
okay,
in Navamsha, Saturn and Mercury.
mm, you have to help me with the chart because I use the East Indian chart, you know. So okay. Mm.
Saturn and Mercury are in first and eighth lord. Saturn and Mercury are placed together, sir. So it may lead to divorce for him.
Yeah, the other reason for this is, I mean, when you have Jupiter, okay, when you have Jupiter in a very, very strong sign, either in the first house or in the seventh house, it would mean intimacy issues. She's not getting enough love. Okay, even from here, you can say the Jupiter is in the seventh house. If somebody is looking at this chart, the Jupiter is in the seventh house. If you are looking at this chart, so that's the Leo, right? So Jupiter is very
Yes.
strong in Leo and Cancer, and in
Okay.
Sagittarius and in Pisces. All signs which favor Jupiter because Jupiter is friends with the Sun, Moon, and Mars. So he's very
Yes.
good in Aries, then Leo, and then Cancer and Sagittarius and Pisces. These signs you have Jupiter either in the first or the seventh. It's because of the intimacy issues. Somebody needs, more intimacy, and somebody is not ready for it. I mean, the other person is not ready for it. So where the Jupiter is,
She complained the same things. She complained. Even she is my friend. She complained the same thing from this
yeah,
side.
so somebody is not ready to, you know, be intimate with. So the woman needs a lot, and the guy is not ready for it. That's what it would mean. So wherever Jupiter is, he's trying to create a progeny. Okay, the expectation is of a child as fast as possible. So somebody has a Jupiter here in the seventh house. It means that the person is not interested in you know making intimate thing with the spouse. Okay. Also use it as a caution. Not every time you get this result. Okay. It's because
Okay.
I saw and do not talk this as the first result or something. Okay, it may unnecessarily create a very very bad situation because not anybody would want to talk about it at the first sentence because we have seen Pushyami here
Yes.
and we got to understand there is the okay Kritika, so Kritika is fire, right? So the Agni, right? What was Agni's thing? He was always looking at uh, he was trying to be seductress or trying to seduce all the women or the Rishi Patnis. He was trying to be looking at the wives of all the rishis. So Agni is that, and he has fire, right? Fire would mean lust. So
Yes.
the wife is on that side. So I get a fair idea when I see the D1. So when I look at the D9, that's when I would say, okay, the seventh house has Jupiter. It means that yes, there is a lot of intimacy needed. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Sir, in the natal chart, the D1,
Okay.
being the sixth lord Jupiter, what is the negative aspect of the sixth lord being in Pushyami?
Fights.
Fight.
Yeah. Sixth lord promotes fights, right? Sixth lord represents fighting. So if he picks up a fight with anyone, he would fight very well. He will bring it to a logical end and he'll push the fight off and he would say, you're unfit for anything. Please go away now. I've proved you're useless. Or he would get into a fight which he cannot win because Jupiter is in Pushimi and he is exalted and Jupiter wants to make peace. So he would avoid the fight completely and say, I'm not fit for fighting. Please leave. Both can be possible.
Actually, second is possible with this guy, sir. He will avoid fights.
Okay, because Jupiter is very highly exalted, he will avoid a fight.
Okay.
And Jupiter, for that matter, always look at the sign which is it in. So Jupiter is in the 10th house, right? So despite being the fact that this is the third and the sixth lord, he's also the dispositor of the fourth and the fifth lord. Look at Saturn there. Okay. So Jupiter is not Jupiter anymore now. Jupiter is the dispositor of the fourth and the fifth lord. Also Rahu there. So all of these would make money, right? For a Libra ascendant, the fourth lord, the fifth lord is the Raj Yoga Karaka, the Saturn. So this will only indicate towards money, and also look at the disposition that it is making. So it is in interchange with the Rohini. There is a planet in Rohini which is Moon. Moon is exalted, and it's the sixth lord that can make a surgeon. That's what it is showing.
Okay.
You would only get hints from here, Nagu. I mean, do not come to a conclusion wherein, why not the sixth house is giving debts here? Okay. Why not? I mean, is that your question?
No, no, no. I was thinking, I mean, what's the negative aspect of being sixth house? And also I was thinking like even seventh lord, even though it is placed in his own house, it is not helping in terms of the marriage.
Right.
Yeah.
That's when the marriage gets spoiled more. When you have exalted planets, when you have Swakshetra planets, that is when you are bound to get, because more importantly on the Swakshetra planets, like the previous example which the other lady has just described, there's a Capricorn Lagna, and in the seventh house you have Pushyami, wherein the moon is in the own
Moon is
house.
there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the problem with this combination is the cusp, the lord, and the dispositor happen to be the same thing. It falls in the same nakshatra. And by any chance, if the nakshatra is bad for marriage or for that particular house, it is only going to destroy it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Somebody has the seventh connections to Kritika, it would mean, the lust thing has to be handled very well. So you have to join it with another horoscope which has enough of that element once again, and then, try to unite these people. Otherwise, you have two different horoscopes not matched properly. I mean, had the Pushyami thing was not so active with these three planets, without this Pushyami having any planet, there would have been no divorce. It's okay. He'll still manage it. Because there are so many planets in Pushya that ended in a divorce. Because the major complaint is from the Pushya that he's not giving me enough time. And then the Kritika came up. Look, I would plan for a very romantic dinner. This guy would even not come. That day he would say, no, I'm very busy. Okay. So, I mean, do not look at things in isolation. So, if you're just trying to pick up the sixth house and then trying to relate it to Pushya, uh, you may still be trapped. You have to look at the whole thing, because it is because the Pushyami and the Rohini are in exchange with the sixth and the eighth and the 10th houses. Yes, you can predict a surge in here, and Mars is also needed.
Yep. Yep. Understood. Yeah.
Okay, a good example, Shrishma.
Thank you, sir. Sir, he will remain as a single only. Any remedies will work out for him. Shall I ask any consultation?
Uh, hmm.
At least I will tell his mother.
First thing is the willingness of the person. If the person is not willing, don't push him.
He's not at all willing, sir.
Always, because these are practical things. I mean, no matter, yes, you can look at the horoscope, you can ask him to do a little remedies, but for remedies of the seventh house, the person has to be willing, because seventh house tries to complete you, right? If you're not willing to be married, there's no way somebody can push you, right? Because because besides the third, sixth, and the 10th and the 11th houses, seventh house is also another upachaya kind of a house only. It's just the mirror of you. So if you're not willing, it becomes very difficult for anybody to actually coach you or try to tell you, no, it will work. Nobody wants to take that responsibility these days. Who would take a responsibility for him that, yes, your marriage is going to work, don't worry, believe me? Who's going to take that? No one, right? That's one.
Oh,
Second is the willingness of the person. If he's not willing, how would you do a remedy? Cannot do a remedy.
yes, sir. It's not really.
Then how would you remedy it? Cannot. Even if you remedy it, it's only the astrologer and the purohit on the other side are going to make money. He would still remain the same, right? So why
Okay.
give a remedy which is not going to work? If he is willing, someday if he says if he's willing, I have not seen the other things, and I'm not very comfortable seeing the South Indian chart. So I've not looked at the whole D9, but it looks like it's okay for him even without a wife. He can still manage. If you look at the D7 thing, even the D7 is missing. I mean, children are missing.
I didn't see D7, sir, for this case, sir.
Mhm. The Lagna has Mercury. It's a Saturn house. Uh,
Right.
yeah, it's a little. Does not seem like he's interested. Saturn house, Lagna, Mercury. You have even in the D9, Lagna is Saturn owned, and Saturn and Mercury are together. He's not very willing to.
Saturn and Mercury in D7 interchanged, sir. In D7, Saturn and Mercury are interchanged, and Mercury is in ascendant.
Okay.
No,
It looks like he's not very keen. He's not very keen to have children or stuff like that. I mean, this is a male chart,
he's
so just look at
planning,
the sixth house.
he's
Is yes.
planning different ideas to have a kid. Surrogacy. I will have a child by planning surrogacy. He's feeling.
Okay, but I mean, it's in the public, so let's not talk much about somebody who's
Oh,
not around.
okay.
So, okay, anybody else has any question?
I have a chart, sir. Libra, Lagna,
Okay.
and it's on Chitta 2 degrees, I guess, around the degrees. Degrees are not sure. And Sun is there in the Lagna. And the coming to Pushyami, 3
How
planets
old
are
is
there.
the person, madam?
He's around 61 or 60.
Okay. Would you want to share the detail? Can we see
Yeah,
here?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Please.
So you want me to give the date of birth, sir?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not sure exactly the time, but I know that around that time. So yeah,
How to see it is Chitta then? Okay. 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 For
yeah.
even then, give me the date of birth.
Okay, October 21st,
Okay.
1962.
Okay.
Time around 6. So I put 6/8.
Okay. Let me just take just 6 a.m. Okay.
Yeah, Hyderabad.
Okay. So the point here is it's not very accurate. The time is how far.
Yeah, around 6. It's they said around 6. So as you said, I calculated with the marriage and all. So I put 6/8.
Okay, you put on 6
Just
8.
just the
So
marriage calculation I know so far. So I did that.
okay, so I'll ask a couple of questions to you. One is
Uh-huh.
having Chitta in the Lagna would mean the person is very detail oriented. He's trying to explain everything in a large
Yes,
message. Okay.
yes,
Okay. He would go into the intricacies of everything. He would try to explain it to you in detail. That's what the person is.
yes.
Okay. So Sun in very close degrees to it would mean loss of hair on the head.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. It looks like the person is 608. Okay. So you have used the techniques which I have taught you in the Telugu session for the marriage.
Oh yeah, and the videos, the marriage timing. So based on that, I put 6 8. So yeah, but
All right. So we haven't taught here in the English class, so we'll come to it. Okay. So what's your point here?
now the moon dasa is going on, and moon, Mars, Rahu, all three 11 degrees. So is there any significance for that? So he's been going. He usually, as of I know from outsiders, so he's very strong and all. Been into taxi business and lot of chemicals business.
Ma'am, I lost you actually. I mean, you went completely off. Your voice, I could not hear anything. Can you say it once again?
Okay, 1 second. So let me. Yeah, are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So he did from 20 years onwards. He's been into taxi business and also a lot of ups and downs, accidents, everything. And then from 40 or 45 years, I'm not sure. Yeah, just 15 years from now on. Before 15 years, since 15 years, he's been into this chemicals business. Then he got really good fortune and everything. But of late, he seems to be really disturbed with mindset and lot of hospital visits. Yeah, I'm wondering like how close all three are. So maybe that's a point to discuss. So that's why I put it up. All three 11 degrees, same.
Usually, it's not very good to have planets in very close degrees, especially in Cancer. As I told you, I mean, the least number of
Yeah.
planets you have in Cancer, the best that is. And even if you have, if they are widely, they're apart a lot of degrees, that's much better. I'm still not attributing the disease thing or visiting many hospitals because he's already 60. He must have had his good fair share of what Pushimi had to contribute to him. Because Pushimi does not mean for sure there will be material success, especially when you have planets in such close conjunctions and also aspects. You can see Rahu, you can see Saturn, you can see Ketu, okay, and but still he must be okay. It's not that is poor or something, right? He must be doing fine.
He is okay, but lot of debts and all. He got loans and everything. Business is going well. But still of late the health is off the radar and he is much worried about his son and a lot of stuff is going on.
Yeah,
So
that's because the sixth lord is in Shatabhishak. Okay, Shatabhishak would mean 100 doctors. So he would keep changing doctors. Is that right?
yes, sir, he's very scared to go to doctors and one surgery is done, but it didn't go well. Then again, so they want follow up and he's not doing the follow up.
The lord
So
is in.
and he don't listen to everyone. So maybe I don't know. Like maybe that's related to Savana.
Yeah, that's the Saturn and Ketu are in too close conjunction. This is another problem for debts. Okay, the sixth lord dispositor, yes. So I have not
He
covered
is very
anything.
good with a lot of dogs, sir. Every day he feed nearly 6 to 10 dogs, even cooking at home. And he used to have a dog recently died, and somehow he's really very much towards dog. Well, even though he's not feeling well, he'll go to office and feed the dogs. Just to feed the good dogs, he'll go there. I don't know what is that connection. But see,
Yeah,
sir, all are, most of them are 11 degrees. Is there any significance with that? 11 degrees is something because I don't know the
that's
degree
right.
part.
That's right. Because 10 degrees is where Saturn exalts. So everything gets connected to Saturn now. I'm sorry, Sun now. 10 degrees is where the Sun exalts. That's in the 10th house, right? So, and Saturn, Ketu, Rahu, none of these planets Sun is liking. So, Sun does not like these planets. So, do not think Saturn is in a different place, Rahu is in a different place, or a Ketu is in a different place. The moment some planet is on the exaltation signs of a planet, they are going to affect that planet. In this context, at the 10th degree, Sun is going to exalt. Sun does not like these planets, Saturn, Ketu, Rahu, because Rahu and Ketu are retrograde, and Sun is the only planet, along with the Moon, that tries to travel only forward. Sun never retrogrades, so he does not like retrograded planets. Second is it does not like Saturn, it does not like Rahu. So these are three things which we can look at.
Sir, Sun is debilitated, right? In here, it's exalted.
Right.
I mean, you
Right.
said
But
Sun is exalted.
Sun's exaltation degree is 10th degree, right?
Yeah.
So irrespective of, now forget where Sun is now. So if a planet is
Okay.
11th degree, if this planet is at 11th degree or the 10th degree, plus or minus 2 degrees always you take. So 10 plus or minus 2 would make 8 to 12 degrees. Sun is going to not work well. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Sun does not want any of the sign to be filled with a planet which is against him, like Venus. Venus on the 10th degree, anywhere. Okay, Saturn on the 10th degree, anywhere. Ketu, Rahu, does not like these planets.
Yeah, if he likes, he is very outward spoken, criticizing, judgmental. If he likes the person, he'll
That's
leave them to the moon.
that's the Chitta trait, madam. The moment you have planets in Chitta, the problem is outspoken, candid nature. People will not like it because Chitta starts with Rutam and ends with Satyam. The problem with Satyam, and you know why Venus gets debilitated in Chitra Nakshatra is because Venus is a planet known for diplomacy and money making. He does not like people who are quarreling or fighting or talking openly. He's a diplomat planet. You look at people, look at the Chitra's perspective. Chitra would like to talk everything openly. The moment everything is open, you cannot earn anything, right? Because if the relationships are very good, because the moment you're trying to talk very openly about a person, the person will not like it. And unless there is relationship, you cannot sell. So for if you're an MBA in the marketing or something, people will get classes for it, right? So you ask any MBA marketing student, he would say relationship is the only thing that would sell because products are available with any company and anybody has a very good relationship can only sell. If you look at it from that perspective, don't think I'm a very good sales guy or something like that. I only try to hear and grasp. My good thing is only grasping. I'm not very good at anything else. So if you ask such people, why Venus debilitates there is because you are pushed to talk the truth, and people do not like the truth. The moment you're talking the truth, people will not give you business. People will not buy things from you. You have to sugarcoat everything, and that's what sales skills are, or that's how marketing skills are being, you know, imparted to the people. Okay, so
Yeah,
that's why.
most of his business goes with the good relations or something like that. Even he is not, the family says that
For
even the business is also not really, he's not properly organized. He goes vaguely with his relation and like, okay, they will give you, he'll believe everyone, trust everyone. So all about that. So can we connect, what traits we can connect, sir, with these planets here in Pushyami?
one is
And because this dispository is also there, so
one is one is a good business. Okay, one is a prosperity. One is a good business, despite the fact that yes, they're in very, very, very close connection. It's not a big successful thing. It's a slow successful thing. Or um, if you look at the previous example, the planets were very, very well placed. Uh, None of the planets were aspecting. I mean, they are much better placed for sure. Okay. I mean, Saturn, Ketu are not in that at that close conjunction. They're not at that 10, 11 degrees. So those are the things. But however, Pushya for sure is going to give material success. That's what I'm trying to say. However, the other
and
planets also.
and what about the depression or whatever he's like right now? He used to be very strong-minded and all. because
Mars,
survived so many.
Mars, Moon and Rahu, right? So Moon is at the Moon is on the 11th degree, and Rahu is also on the 11th degree. This can be like what is that illusion? Being in the illusion, Moon and Rahu, and very close conjunction, because Rahu is an illusion, Moon is the Manas. Manas getting into illusion. Okay, so that can bring in depression, or that can bring in overactiveness also. Sometimes he's overactive, or sometimes he's very underactive. Both can be possible. Moreover,
Yeah,
the Saturn is also with the Ketu, so that also is not a very good placement, especially with the fourth house. So that brings in depression. Saturn Ketu in the fourth house is depression. The closer they are, the more it is depressing. And the conjunction of Moon Rahu is confirming it. I mean, there are many combinations for depression. Even Moon Saturn against one another can mean chemical business and also depression. So both. So he's into chemicals business. That also is you've told just now. So that is also one thing. And he's also in a depression because there's Saturn and Moon, and one is Rahu and Ketu in so close conjunctions. However, I would still say it's okay. It's not as bad as anything. I mean, it's still good. And provided it's the Lagna. I don't know if the Lagna had to be moved to with a couple of minutes from 6. If you downsize it to 550 or 5:55, the time, birth time, then it goes into Virgo. Then the whole thing changes.
yeah,
So,
yes.
so it's a little. However, if you're talking about depression and chemicals business and so on, and if the person is very descriptive in giving instructions, then this must be the Lagna. Chitra must be the Lagna, and Lagna must have Sun. And that's one more reason why the fourth house Saturn and Ketu, because they are against the Sun that is there in the Lagna. You also have to look at planets in tandem. I mean, one planet is here, and this planet does not like this planet in the fourth house. So the fourth house is more depressed because Lagna has Sun. Right?
Yeah, he's from the beginning, he's on his own. He doesn't listen to anyone, whatever he want to do, he'll do. So like that. But usually people think that really hot-headed and very strong, but now he's like suddenly after COVID pandemic and all, he started seeming weak and saying everyone, if my business doesn't do well, then you take my house and pay the EMIs and all.
No,
So
I think it's okay. It's not that bad because the seventh lord is in Pushyami along with the moon. Despite the fact that if you look at the Graha Yuddha, so this may show that there is Graha Yuddha, that Moon and Mars are in Graha Yuddha and Mars is winning. Saturn and Rahu are in Graha. Okay, so Rahu, Ketu, everything is in Graha Yuddha.
Saturn and Ketu are in Graha Yuddha and Saturn is winning.
But I want to make a point here that the luminaries, the sun and the moon, do not get into Graha Yuddha. Okay, and Graha Yuddha happens only when the consecutive next planet from it is in Yuddha with him. That means, let us suppose there is sun. Okay, there is a sun, and all the planets are. You know how the distribution of planets are. So you have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. It's the same thing, same order. So if you see, or you count the varas, Ravivara, Somavara, Mangalavara, Budhavara. You just have the week order. Okay, in the week order, if there are planets in Yuddha, that means Mars and Mercury, because Mangalavara and Budhavara, one after the other. So it means that one planet is actually trying to stand against him to receive the sunlight. Because sun is the only source of light, right, for all the planets. So if one planet cannot receive light from the sun because both of these planets are on the same degree, one is standing exactly in front of the sun and the other planet is going behind this planet. So Mars and Mercury are together. It means that the Mars is ahead and Mercury is behind. So Mercury cannot get any light from it. That's when these two are in Yuddha. And they're trying to share the light that is coming from the sun, which is falling only on one planet, and they have to share the same light with both the planets. That's when they're trying to fight each other, and whoever wins has the higher light, and the one which has the lower light is trying to be defeated. So in both the cases, I mean, if the planet has won or the planet was defeated, what I would say is both the planets are weak, because when a king gets into a war, and even if he is successful, once he comes back, there is a lot of bloodshed happen. The king is tired. So even after winning a war, a planet is tired. You may not get full good results from a win. Okay, so what you're trying to make out here is Moon and Mars and Rahu are trying to take light from the same degree. Okay, so Moon, Mars, Rahu. I mean, Rahu is a shadow planet, so we generally don't consider him to be taking any light. He's only trying to, cast a shadow over the planet. So getting into close degrees with the shadow planets is actually one more detrimental thing. Or I mean, had the Rahu been not there, there would have been a lot of more prosperity. That's what I would say. Still, this is a prosperous thing. He's still making some money. It's his thing is not going to run into debts or anything. It's doing fine.
Okay.
At the outset, it looks fine. Although we haven't checked the D10 and things like that, but for me, it looks like it's fine. However, we don't even know the whole time, the right time of it. I mean, going into D10 would render it meaningless because we don't even know. So for that, we need to do the correction and stuff like that. However, I'm convinced that this is the time, and because it's a chemical business and stuff like that, it looks like it's only a he's only worried. He's only worried for his own reasons. It looks like it's fine. It's not going to go into a loss or anything. It's fine. All right. Anybody else has any more questions?